you guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is gonna be a palette review. I just received in the mail my Maybelline Soda Pop palette. I ordered this on Ulta's website as soon as it was available, and it did take a few days for them to ship to me, so I just got my hands on it, and I am ready to just start playing with this palette. This palette looks so beautiful. Let me give you guys a little close-up of it. So in this palette, there are 12 shades with a beautiful array of colors, which I'm also loving this entirely new layout of their palettes. I think it looks a lot more high-end and a lot more organized, and it just has a very pleasing look to the eyes. They had the same layout with the Lemonade Craze, and I really enjoyed this palette. I used this very recently in my Kylie makeup look. Love this palette, so I'm so excited to be testing this one out. Oh, and before I keep going, I do want to mention the price. It is $13.99 on Ulta's website. Now this is also supposed to be scented, so let's try to take a little whiff. The scent is supposed to be a soda pop scent. I can't exactly pinpoint the type. I do smell that kind of soda-y scent, I guess you could say. It's very sweet, but not exactly sure which one they're going for. I mean, it smells pretty good. Oh, and I just noticed that the names are all soda themed. So we have a soda fizz, blue raspberry, a cherry cola, a root beer. Very fun names. So I'm thinking right now we need to jump into some swatches of these so we can see how they are gonna look. So I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna start with this shade over here and then work my way kind of like that. I think I'm gonna try to do some live swatches so you guys can see. So this one right here is Chilling. We then have Tonic. And if you see me looking down, it's because I have a mirror there, so I'm trying to keep them kind of organized. We then have Sugar High. We then have Ginger Ale, Crushing, and Cola Float. First six didn't swatch that bad. Let's go on to the bottom six. We have Soda Fizz, and whoa, that one was nice. And then Grape Pop, which I think we're most excited about. Oh no, that one didn't swatch that great. It came off a little bit powdery, so I'm just gonna rub it back and forth there. Then we have Blue Raspberry. Okay, moving all the way down now, we have Cherry on Top. Oh, that one wasn't that great either. A little bit powdery. Then we have Cherry Cola. And lastly, we have Root Beer. Came off a little powdery as well. Go over that. Okay, but here we have the full palette swatched out on my arm. It did get a little wonky down here at the bottom since it got very close to my elbow, but the colors do look very promising. After that, very excited to just start dipping around and playing with this palette. I wish I could put every single shade on my lid. I'm not really sure where I want to take this look yet, so I think I'm just gonna start dipping into some shades and see where we take it. So let's just start playing with this palette. Okay, now that I have you guys all nice and zoomed in, I'm gonna get started. The shade Chilling and shade Ginger Ale are a very, oh geez, I just dunked my brush in there. Oops. Okay, as I was saying, so these two shades are very light. I probably wouldn't be able to use them for anything other than to perhaps highlight the brow bone a little bit if I want to do a matte color there, or to set the lid. Otherwise, I feel like those two shades aren't really going to show up, so I'm not even going to attempt to use it. I think what I'm most drawn to is the shade Crushing. I really want to see how vibrant that is on the lid. So I'm going to take this shade right here and taking this on my Morphe Y16 brush. And I'm just going to start trying to apply this in the crease as the transition shade when I dipped my brush into it, it wasn't a whole lot of fallout. It was a little bit, but not as powdery as the Lemonade Craze palette. But that is just the start anyway. We'll have to see with the darker shadows if it's gonna just start drizzling. That's after just one swirl around in the palette. Not too bad. I am gonna try to build it up. I'm gonna dip back into it again. Let's see if this color can just be pumped up 10 times. Okay, that's the pigment I wanted right there. It's usually when I start just applying the eyeshadows, I kind of get an idea of the look I want to create. And I'm starting to get those creative juices flowing. So I'm thinking I'm gonna take the shade Cola Flow over here. And I'm gonna work this out underneath where we put, what was that shade? Crushing? Just to build up the intensity a little bit. So working it slightly below the transition shade. Just kind of marrying these two shades together. And as you guys can see, with adding that shade just slightly below, it completely transforms that orange, which is why I love to do a little bit of a layered look when it comes to my eyeshadows. It's either a really good thing that I always want to do this, or it's a bad thing, but I really want to use as many shadows as possible. So I want to take this shade right here, Cherry on Top. Oh, that one has a lot more fallout than the rest of them. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it just rained onto my hand as well. The other two, no fallout, but this one, it is quite a bit more. I'm sorry, I don't mean fallout, powdery. So I'm just taking this on my Makeup Geek soft dome brush, and I'm just gonna be working this out into the outer V and perhaps bringing it a little bit into the transition colors. Just trying to build it up. I really wanted to play with these purple tones. That is adding a whole lot more depth out in the outer corner. Oh, and I bet you guys didn't know that Gigi Hadid, she actually wore the Maybelline Soda Pop palette on her eyes for the Met Gala that was back in, I think, was it April? She wore exclusively this palette, so that's pretty cool that she went completely drugstore for that event. Now, the only thing really left is to take this shade right here, Root Beer, well, at least the only thing left of the matte shades. Oh yeah, that one is quite powdery as well, so getting a lot raining down. Wonder if you guys can see all that powder. I personally do not really mind that. As long as you make sure you really tap off your brush, you're gonna be fine. If you forget to tap off your brush and you have already makeup on your face, that's when you're gonna have a problem. But I'm just gonna start applying this in the outer V very lightly, just to deepen things up just one last time. And I'm not really blending this yet. I'm kind of just patting it on, kind of trying to work it exactly where I want it, placing it down, and then I'm just gonna start blending it out. If you feel like maybe you lost a little bit of that orange intensity, since that was the first shade we used, go back into it. I'm taking a Wet n Wild crease brush and just lightly run that brush along the edges and just kind of re-intensify that. Since we worked so many shadows over top, it is very easy for it to kind of get a little bit lost. So you just gotta re-amplify it a little bit. Moving on from all the matte shades, I'm gonna work my way into the shimmers. I wish I could use every single shade. That might look a little bit crazy, so I think I'm gonna be able to manage at least 3. I wanna take this shade right here called Soda Fizz, and I am gonna give it a little bit of help, so I'm gonna give it a little spritz. And I'm just gonna start placing this as the all over the lid shade. Okay, not too bad. I was expecting a little more intensity, so let me go back into it. Let's try it one more time. And there we go. I think I had to wet the brush and then dip back into it a little bit more. That's what I did, and I got a whole lot more of a metallic-y feel. I know what you're thinking. You're asking yourself, why did you go in with Soda Fizz instead of Grape Pop? But that is because I have different plans for Grape Pop. I'm gonna take that one right now. gonna dip into it with my very old Makeup Geek chisel shader. I don't even think this one's made anymore. Also giving that one a little spray. And then I'm gonna start applying this on the lower lash line. Felt like that would give it a really bright, beautiful, vibrant pop of color underneath the eyes. And oh man, that is very beautiful. Even with just this shade underneath on the lower lash line, you can see how magical this shade just looks. It's so beautiful in its light purpleness. I then want to dip into this kind of champagne shimmer shade called Tonic. And I just want to pop this in the inner corner. Just kind of intensify things there. And a tiny little bit of that same shade up on the brow bone. Okay, I think the only thing left to do is apply a little bit of mascara, apply some false lashes, and perhaps change this lip color. I think the lip color is a little bit too bold now for the look that I went for. So I'm gonna do that really quickly off camera. I'm gonna zoom you guys back out and then we're gonna finish up talking about this palette. So I'll be right back. Woo! And I am done with this look. Lashes just make all the difference when it comes to a good eyeshadow look, at least in my opinion. I also changed the lip color, as you guys can see. I went with something a little bit more nudie so that way it wasn't bold and bold. Just so the main focus could be the eyeshadow of the day because man, this looks so good. I did have really high hopes for this palette because I knew the quality of the Lemonade Craze. So if it was the same, I knew I was gonna absolutely love it. And I have to say 100% the Soda Pop is of the same kind of quality. If you enjoyed Lemonade Craze, you will love Soda Pop. When talking about, you know, the pigmentation, the blendability, and everything like that about this palette, I think they are so good and I think it is of very high quality. The pigmentation was absolutely beautiful. The only one I was kind of skeptical about was starting off with the shade Crushing, but you were really able to build that color up that it just popped on your eyes. I think all of these are very buildable shades, so if you are thinking in your head after swiping it on first that it's not that good, just dip into it one more time and you're gonna see that pigmentation really start to build up. The blendability was magnificent. I had no patchiness, I had no weird skipping or nothing really wanting to go onto the lid. Everything merged together seamlessly. And you guys saw how many shades I decided to just layer on top. And nothing went on like, that's disappointing. Everything just completely shocked me. Even with the shimmery shades, after I gave them a little bit of a spritz, I feel like these shades do need some kind of setting spray to help make it more bold. It definitely makes them more metallic and vibrant if you give it a little spray and then you go in with a shade. And sometimes with drugstore palettes, what you see on the pan is not necessarily what you get on your eyes, and that is not the case in this. All these applied so true to what you see in the pan. Even the shade Great Pop, which purple can be very hard to do. Honestly, I do not find a lot of good purples, but this one just applied so beautifully to the lower lash line and just looks so true to color. I think if you have been debating picking this up, I would highly recommend it. You get some great quality eyeshadows for such an affordable price, which I am all about. But this is actually where I'm gonna wrap up today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed my review on the Maybelline Soda Pop palette. If you did, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that little bell button, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!